Regular viewers of the channel will know that I am a huge fan of McFarlane's Batman 66 line. Now, despite being a fan, I am in a position where I can call out mistakes or overuse of molds where appropriate. Now, the latest wave 10 I believe, went up for pre-order I guess a month or two back, and I pre-ordered mine from a company in Hong Kong, and I also did a backup pre-order with Entertainment Earth. Well, for whatever reason I figured I'm going to take my chances with the Hong Kong company, and I cancelled my pre-order with Entertainment Earth, and I knew that I would eventually get the figures. Now, when I pre-ordered with the Hong Kong company, they had said expect these to be delivered round about September, October time. Well, would you believe the package has just arrived from Hong Kong? So let's go ahead and see what these figures are all about. Welcome back. Now, I was just about to film a video unboxing some vintage items from 1984, but when I was getting set up to film, this just arrived. This is wave 10 of McFarlane's Batman 66 line. So without wasting any more of your time, let's go ahead, get this package opened up and see what these figures are like. So here we are with the package. Now, I am so excited to get this. As I said, I wasn't expecting this till September, October time, so this was a really nice surprise this morning. And I do see that it's flown with Cathay Pacific, so hopefully it flew first class. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing opened up, and hopefully we will see what the latest wave of McFarlane figures are like. Now, I should preface this by saying those of you who are wishing to see the Nightwing figure will be disappointed. I did not order that figure because he wasn't in the 66 show. Simple as that. So, nicely packaged, I think. Yeah, they've been crammed in somewhat, but there's been plenty of bubble wrap used. And those of you that are good with counting will see there are, in fact, 5 figures here. Good reason for that. But let me just put this to the side for now, and we'll just take them out randomly. So first up, we have Alfred. And this is a figure I have been waiting for a very long time. And I'm pleased to say, whilst the likeness to Alan Napier may not be the best, it's not bad for a figure in this scale and price range. Now, he does come with a bat phone, which is interesting because the playset also comes with a bat phone. So we have an extra bat phone, but we do have a feather duster. So he is keeping Wayne Manor nice and tidy. Looks like it's come from a Singapore place. So We Collect Toys Pte Limited. I don't think that was the name I ordered from. Could be, not really that big of a deal. So we have Alfred. Next up, we have the spunky Robin. I don't know what to say about this. He has clearly been attending one of those bukkake parties, but he's meant to be covered in wax, and I guess he does look like that, so I'm not going to complain too much. It's just a really odd choice of figure. It comes with a bat spray of some sort and a bat duster, which were of course items he used in the show. Next up, finally another villain. This time it's Bookworm, and he is looking pretty good, and he has this giant magnifying glass. I'm assuming the light on his head will bend the other way to go the correct direction. If not, it will do on display. Next up, so we have another Alfred. The reason being that I wanted one for the Wayne Manor playset and one for my lineup of figures, which is why I have 2 of him. And lastly, we have, now what are they calling this? The Space Batman. So we have a couple of clip-on wings, and I can see immediately that everything has been done in a slightly different color of plastic. Definitely a lot more purple being used. I can only assume that's because they wanted to kind of replicate the way he looked in the comic book. But let's get these opened up and take a closer look at these figures. So first up, we have Alfred Pennyworth. Now, when I've taken him out of the package, looking at the head sculpt, it's not entirely accurate to the likeness of Alan Napier. It's probably as good as you can expect at this price point, so I'm not going to complain too much on that. What I will complain about, though, is the fact that both Alfred and Bookworm have been given a kind of a trigger finger hand sculpt. You can see that there. And that does make holding the accessories a little bit challenging. I think you kind of have to squeeze his finger in there, and whilst the plastic used is pliable enough, it is putting a bit of stress on that finger, so just bear that in mind. But when he's holding his duster, although, as we all know, no one holds a feather duster like this, but I guess that's what they had to do. Again, they are just reusing the hands, and these hands are not designed to hold accessories like these. Now, he comes with an additional bat phone, which is kind of surplus to requirements because, as I said, the Wayne Manor playset has an actual bat phone on the desk. So this is, all in all, pretty much useless. And again, they've had to sculpt this silly sort of loop onto the back of the telephone there so that he can put his hand through it. I guess something akin to this. But again, with Bookworm, they've been given a closed fist hand on the left arm, which means he cannot hold the receiver in his hand, so a pretty pointless accessory. And again, the fact that we have a bat phone in the the Wayne Manor playset makes this, all in all, a bit redundant. But to finally get an official Alfred to use in Wayne Manor is welcomed in my book. And all in all, the sculpting is pretty good. Now, I don't have the figure to hand, but I believe this is the exact same suited sculpt that was used on the Commissioner Gordon figure, but been done in a more accurate Alfred color scheme. So all in all, reasonably happy with this figure. Now, next up, we have the Bookworm, and I'm sad to report that his headlamp has been sculpted to the hat, so there's no way of bringing this round to show like how he used it in the TV show. Now, I do have, I think, 2 other Bookworm figures. One came from Funko's Reaction line, I think, but for sure I got one of Bookworm in the Figures Toy Company line, and they have the headlamp in the correct position. Now, I am liking the sort of gold piping on the suit here. They have used a different material for the legs as opposed to the jacket, and the jacket is somewhat rubbery, and there is a definite sort of difference there, a much more matte finish on the legs when compared to the jacket. Nice gold tie there. All in all, a really good looking figure, and I think the face sculpt on this is actually pretty damn good, and the glasses are a good fit. Quite often in figures of this size, the glasses tend to be a bit oversized. That's not the case here. Now, he comes with a magnifying glass, and again, just to show you the hand sculpt, it's the same hand sculpt as Alfred with a definite trigger finger there, and they've also sculpted a hoop onto the back of the magnifying glass, which allows him to hold it if you squeeze his finger into that loop. And again, it is a fairly pliable plastic, so I wouldn't be too worried about the finger breaking off, but it does go in just, and you can kind of hold it. Now, I should point out, this is actually a functioning magnifying glass, so that was actually a really nice touch on the part of McFarlane. They could have just gone ahead and just put in a simple piece of clear plastic, but no, this actually does function as a magnifying glass. So all in all, I am really happy with this figure, and I think this may be the best one in the wave. Now we're looking at Space Batman. Now, I have lost count at this point, but this sculpt has been used, I would estimate, at least 10 times at this point, but it has been done in much different colors, a really sort of deep purple for the trim here, and a much sort of bluer gray bat suit. Now, I don't know, this helmet could be removable. I am not going to take my chances by yanking at it. As it is, it looks good on the figure. Now, the wings do clip into place. Now, I've put them in and I don't know if I can get them out. So I'm not going to test this much further, but rest assured they are very well firmly held in place. And it's a rather unusual looking Batman, especially if you're used like me to the TV show. I am not aware of having ever seen this in a comic book. I'm sure it did happen, which is why McFarlane have made this figure, but it's not a Batman I am particularly familiar with in this form, but I do like the way it looks, and I do love the sort of classic sort of 1960s space helmet that he's wearing there. Now, my only concern with this figure would be when I have them all lined up on display, I'm hoping I can get these wings to go behind the next character in line. Otherwise, he will take up a lot of shelf space with this huge wingspan. But overall, it's a nice sort of novelty Batman. Again, not something we ever saw in the TV show, but if McFarlane are expanding to the Batman 66 comics, I'm sure we can expect more figures like this. So now I've left the most ridiculous till the end. This is Robin that appears to have been covered in spunk. Now, obviously it's meant to replicate the look of Wax, and I suppose it does. He has a very sort of matte feel to the finish. Again, another really, really lazy repaint on the part of McFarlane here. At this point in time, I think we're up to about 4 or 5 different versions of this sculpt. Now, again, the poorly cut capes, and anyone that knows anything about the TV show will know that Robin did not have a scalloped cape, but they continue to do this, and because it's been, I was going to say it's been spunked on, that would be the wrong thing to say, because it's been waxified, it's got a much more brittle feel to it, and as such, during packaging, it's got really badly creased up here, although when it's on display you won't really be able to see that, so it's not too big of a deal. He comes with 2 accessories. We have the bat brush, which you can actually hold as any normal person would hold a brush, and it also comes with an unmarked can of bat spray. Now, I do know that when Mattel were doing their 6-inch line of figures, they did one set with Batman and a small section of the Batcave, and those similar sized cans were marked with different types of bat spray, so McFarlane could have done a bit better with this. Although in saying that, I don't believe that can will fit into his hand without putting a great deal of pressure on those fingers. When it comes to absurd action figures, this one probably takes the biscuit, and I can't believe someone at McFarlane thought this would be a good idea. It's absolutely ridiculous, and when it was first announced, all over social media were all the sort of bukkake jokes you would expect, and understandably so. As you can see, these are pretty good looking figures, and even the spunky Robin, whilst it looks really odd, I can see what they were going for with the wax effects. I'm glad to have it in my collection, but most importantly, I am so glad to finally get an Alfred figure to put into the Wayne Manor playset. That figure has been long overdue, but that's now been rectified. We still need official Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne figures. I have made my own Bruce Wayne, but hopefully we'll get those figures in the next wave. Who knows? But I hope you enjoyed this quick look at these brand new figures, and if you did, please do leave a like. Please share the video, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you all next time.